Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So behind me I have a 2018 Hyundai Sonata with around 82,000 miles on it. This one has the 4-cylinder 2.4 liter in it, and today we're going to be doing a diagnostic on it. Now before we go ahead and begin, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Definitely smash the like button because it helps the channel out. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started on today's video. So before we go ahead and get into this video, I just want to share a little bit of info regarding the car and this video. So I typically don't do diagnostic videos because on this channel I may have tools that you don't, and the way I approach a diagnostic may not be the same way you approach it, and there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can come in and attack a problem from many different angles. So me doing this video, I guess you can say, is a first of maybe very few that I've done like this, where I show you somewhat of a diagnostic process. But the reason why I'm choosing to do on this one is because I feel this is pretty straightforward. I believe I already know what's wrong with this car. Now, a little backstory is the car apparently has been tuned up before, and as of recently it got new coil packs because I believe the owner of the vehicle swapped them out thinking that that was the problem, and that didn't solve it. But I have a sneaking suspicion that this vehicle, being a very famous Hyundai motor for having a lot of problems with oil consumption, I believe that's what we have here, and I believe this thing is burning up oil. So to save a lot of effect on the video, I've already gone ahead and just pulled the code. It's P0304, so cylinder 4 misfire. That was pretty much it, nothing else in there. So where we're going to start is just attacking the number 4 cylinder, and let's see what we find. So I have the camera in the engine bay, and the first thing that I'm going to do is let's get rid of this little cover, and we'll just throw it to the side. I really don't like these things. They burn up coil packs because there's a lot of foam behind them, and I just believe this just keeps the heat in there and basically causes anything underneath here to dry up and crack and possibly break, and that includes coils. So anyway, we're going to put that to the side. Now, coil number 4 is going to be right here. On these engines, it starts off from 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, the crank pulley from the front is number 1, and then as you get farther back, it's number 4. So we're not really going to do anything crazy here. Just pull back our lock tab, remove our connector, and we're going to take a 10mm and go ahead and remove our coil pack. Now this is, I already kind of know what to expect from this. Now this has new coil packs, so I'm not expecting these to be bad, and sure enough, nice clean. They still have that little green grease that comes with the coil pack, so we're gonna get that out of the way. Now what we're gonna do is shoot on in there, and we are going to get our spark plug out. Now this is what I expect. I'm going to expect to pull out the spark plug, and we're going to find it carboned up with a bunch of sediment or debris. And then what I'm going to do is test out the theory and see how it runs afterwards. And I'm going to take everyone through this whole journey with me. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and take out my spark plug. I got my spark plug tool in there. Now this one doesn't have a magnet because it broke, so let me grab my magnetic one here, put it down the bore. And first look, now I can't even really see, let me kind of get in here, and sure enough, we have carbon buildup. Now let me go ahead and get the camera off of the engine, and let's talk about this. So lo and behold, not much to any surprise. I pretty much get these cars with varying types of miles, varying years of this 2.4 liter, and this is typically what I find. My initial way of doing it is I'll basically scan, see what codes are in there. Sometimes it's number 4, sometimes it could be any other of the cylinders. It just depends, or you can have multiple cylinders. Depends on how it fails, so that's not really the important part here. But the important part is this spark plug that is pretty much fouled up. Now I don't know how well the camera is going to do justice on this, so let me get behind and let me turn on my lighting here, if my light works, which it doesn't. But we can clearly see, let me get another light on here, how we have carbon buildup, and it's quite flaky on there, especially on the ground electrode. Again, not really sure how well the camera is going to be picking this up here, but this spark plug is pretty crusty to say the least. Now I'm going to pull out the spark plug here, and let's just see what we have. And we do have a iridium plug that looks like it's newer. We don't have a rust ring for those of you that want to see up close. Normally there should be a rust ring up here if they're old, and they're not. We just have that green goo, which is the dielectric grease that comes on most coil packs. And yeah, this doesn't look very old, and there's no markings. There's no real way to tell what year this was made or whatever the case might be, but it looks like it's fairly recent, especially since I believe, yep, it's NGK, and I don't believe these came with NGKs from the factory. I believe they're Denso. So either way, these spark plugs have been replaced. The customer did mention to me that they have done it before, and the newest addition was the coil packs that they swapped out, thinking it would solve the issue. So now that we know our issue, what I'm going to do as a simple test is we're just going to take this spark plug to our wire wheel. Now, in no circumstance do I ever recommend you do this at home. This is just for testing purposes because basically I'm going to see if I could fix the misfire on the engine. And if by cleaning this fixes the misfire, I know that we have an issue there. Now, I already know we have the issue because I've seen this 100 times, but just for general viewing sake, this is what we're going to be doing to test it. Sometimes not all test methods are grab a scope or wiring or something. Sometimes it's just little things like this, like clean up a spark plug, see what happens. Now, I wish I had a spark plug cleaner. They make a fancy tool to do this. However, I don't have it, so we're just going to wire wheel this. And let's go to the wire wheel with our spark plug and let's clean this bad boy up. So welcome to the spark plug cleaner, my very fancy bench grinder with a wire wheel. I suppose I could do this by hand, but this will, do it a lot quicker. Now it's gonna get pretty loud, so just heads up, everyone. Alrighty, so I'm fairly happy with this. Let our wire wheel here kind of stop spinning so it's not as loud. We're going to use our spark plug. Nice and clean. We can see everything on here. Now, there's another thing that we're going to do to this, so let's go over to the other side of the shop and finish cleaning it up fully. So what I'm going to do next is just take my spark plug and we are going to inject it with some brake cleaner here and just clean up anything that may have been left over. And then once we clean it up with the brake cleaner, let me see if I can get my air wand just to make sure we don't leave any debris in there, anything that's going to get into the engine, even though I think this engine's pretty much done for at this point. But clean it up and there we go. Spark plug looks new. So now that we've cleaned it up with air and brake cleaner, let's go back to our engine and throw it back on there. So brand new looking spark plug that we cleaned up. We're going to take it and always start these off by hand. Never take your impact gun and go to town on them. So once I get it threaded in there pretty good, what I'm going to do is take my extension with my non-magnetic spark plug socket. What I find is if you have a magnetic socket and you use electric impact or anything to get these off, it can break the magnet. And that's what happened to this one. I broke the magnet. And what I find is it's kind of tedious tightening them up with a magnetic one. It seems to get hung up sometimes, so this one works pretty well. Now I'm not going to torque this in here because we're testing it. To be honest with you, I have a new spark plug on the way because I know that's ultimately going to fix it. This is just for testing purposes. So we got it nice and snug. Didn't want to overdo it. And what we're going to do is just take our coil pack, and we don't really have to bolt it down. So I'm going to leave the coil pack unbolted. I don't anticipate any issues. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and put our connector back, make sure it's locked in. Now I'm going to go inside the car and let's start it up. Let's see how this engine behaves, because it was sputtering and basically shaking violently prior. So let's get in here and crank her up. Alrighty, so the shaking is gone. We are running perfect. As everyone can see here, it's nice and smooth. Before, this engine was just kind of shaking furiously all over the place. Kind of like this, to give you an example. Let's unplug number 4. That's kind of what we had before, if the camera is even picking it up. Now I'm going to put my hand here so people can see how much it's shaking, and then that's it after we clean our spark plug. So let me go ahead and I'm going to let this run for a couple seconds here, and I'll be right back on camera. So since I've done this for a while and I've seen this play out before, I'm willing to bet it's the piston rings, because I've had this engine in here before, not this particular one, but you know, same engine, different car, that had a similar issue. That thing wound up going through Hyundai, and they confirmed piston rings were bad, and they had to warranty it or did it under a recall. I forget exactly what the scenario was, but that vehicle was repaired by Hyundai. Now, this thing is a 2018. It was bought secondhand, so it doesn't have a 10-year powertrain warranty, and I believe the 5-year powertrain warranty is already up. So I really am not sure what is going to happen with this vehicle and what the owner is going to want to do with it, but it seems like this the owner of this vehicle has pretty much had enough, because you know, they've had a few issues with this thing on and off. They're kind of a regular but not so regular customer of mine, where I see this car for a few things, but they also try to maintain it themselves. And I believe they've dumped quite a bit into it with just, you know, small little things and little problems that they've had, which is a shame, because this car barely has any miles on it. I mean, we're under 100,000 miles here, and it's a nice looking car. The interiors on these are pretty good. I mean, it's fairly luxurious for what it is at the price point. To be honest with you, a couple years ago, I contemplated getting one of these little 4-cylinders for everyday driving instead of driving my truck around all day long. But, you know, if that's the case, then I should just downgrade to a car instead of having a truck and a car. So I just opted to keep in the truck. It's just more better for the environment that I live in, where we get, you know, a lot of rain, a lot of snow, and you know, we need big lifted trucks to get in and out of, you know, snow and everything. But you know, regardless of that fact, fairly good car, low miles, well kept. 2018 is only a couple years old. It's just sad to think that this thing needs an engine already. Now, if we want to take this a step further, we could probably pull all the spark plugs out and see if any of the other cylinders are affected. But like I said, from previous experience, once I see this happening to one, I mean, it's pretty much that's it. You need to do something with the engine, whether rebuild it, replace it, or, you know, find the root cause. Now, the customer just wanted me to give them an idea of what's going on. I actually talked to them, you know, when we found out what was going on, and you know, I told them I could get in a little bit deeper, do a couple more tests, but they pretty much just said, you know, it's okay. They're going to contact Hyundai and see what options are available to them. Maybe a recall is possible. I think the recall is the only bit of a hope they have, that they're going to recall it or has an outstanding recall on this, because, you know, it's not fair to them that they should put money to replace an engine. I pretty much told them, do not pay for an engine replacement. This should be covered through Hyundai Kia, but we'll see how that goes. So for me right now, that's pretty much it. Just a really basic diag. They're going to pay me for, you know, a little bit of time that I spent looking at it, and whatever the new spark plug is going to cost me, just so they can at least limp this thing back home. Now, this car with a new spark plug that we're going to be putting in there, which I probably am not going to film because you pretty much saw the process, it could probably drive a couple more months down the road just fine until it cakes up again. But, you know, it's always going to be consuming oil and having that issue. So I don't know where the road leads for this car here, if they're going to get rid of it or wind up fixing it, or it's going to be covered under some sort of recall campaign. But at the end of the day, we found out what the root cause is. And, you know, that's how simple diagnostics can be. It's not always complicated. Sometimes it's just a matter of opening something up, taking a look, and figuring it out. And, you know, going from there, as we just did. And a lot of you may be wondering why I'm not going super in depth. It's because I already know it needs it. You know, needs an engine. That's it. You know, no need to go further. Put more time into it. That's not going to, you know, be recouped as far as, you know, for time spent with, you know, diagnosing it. So it is what it is. I'm going to close it out here. I just want to share this video with everyone. If you run into a situation like this, or you're trying to diagnose something like this, but the fact that no one pulled out the spark plugs to take a look at them is kind of astonishing to me. even though the vehicle owner, I believe, was doing this at home, you know, they should have probably pulled out the spark plugs and at least looked at the condition and assessed it before putting coil packs on it and assuming it would have been fixed. But either way, that's neither here nor there. We pretty much solved the issue. We figured out what the cause is. Not the exact root cause, but what a cause of it is. And we're just going to send this one down the road with a new spark plug and let the customer do whatever they want to do with it from there. So at the very least, we know we at least got them some good clarity on what's happening with it. So as always, guys, I'm going to cut the video here because I don't want to ramble on. So if you like this video, comment, like, and subscribe because it definitely helps the channel grow. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll catch you on the next video.